gotta say that jingle makes me laugh every single time. It's created by the jingle writer Carrie Wright, and I know him, and he created it, and it's just hilarious to me. Nice to see you guys here. Welcome to the live stream. And if you're watching it on a replay, it's just as much fun, I guarantee it. This is our Fun Fiction Fridays writing sprints where we write together. Today, we're only going to write for exactly an hour because I have a date night with my husband tonight, so I want to go out. I'm very excited about that, to leave the house for something other than a trip. So welcome to Robert and Wendy and Silver Ollie. Nice to see you all here. I wanted to let you know that Facebook is no longer allowing certain pages to go live with StreamYard. I don't know why. It's above my pay grade. So I doubt I can run my live stream on Facebook. I think I'll probably try to add TikTok once I figure out how to do that. So right now, nice to see you, Gayla. Right now, we're just going to stick with YouTube until I have some time to research that and figure out how the heck I do it. So I'm so excited that you're here and writing with me. And the sprints are just like writing really fast, just like a sprint in track, except more fun. And you don't think about all the little words and whether this is going in the right direction or not. That's the goal. So if you find yourself thinking about it, I want you to just either take the writing prompt that I'm going to share or just write something, write a conversation, write something, because the point is to not like get hung up on that one word. So Matt Half-a-Mo is here. Yay, nice to see you. Let me put the writing prompt up for today. It's, there we go. It's going to be, what is your character's greatest love? Who was that person and what happened to that relationship? And the reason I'm thinking about this, beyond having a date with my husband tonight, is because I've got a video coming out next week for you guys where I'm taking a scene from one of my romance novels and I'm analyzing it and teaching you how to write a romance basically within like 16 minutes, I think the video is. I just finished recording it and it's probably longer than I think because I usually talk way more than I think. But I thought that that would be an interesting thing. And if you see that video and you like it and you want me to do more of those, let me know, because I think that that's a really great way to show you guys how to actually put a scene together. I've done it for the masterminds before and they really liked it. So I want to do it for you guys too. All right. And this week's video that just came out is about the things that you need to have in order to have a strong protagonist or antagonist. And it seems to be doing really well. I'm never really sure why one video takes off and another doesn't. It may be that my son's doing a lot of my editing now, and I think he's more talented at it than I am. He's a lot better. So let me know what you think of that video too. Nice to see you here, Miss Blogger. Glad to hear it, Wendy. Yeah, I think that showing you guys hands-on how to work a scene is actually going to be a super way to teach you the concepts that I'm talking about. And Miss Blogger had asked a question about pacing and whether I do a video on pacing, and this is not a video about pacing that's coming out next week, but I do talk about pacing in it. I am going to do one on pacing. I'm trying to figure out the best way to show certain things to you guys. Because I could sit here and lecture all day, but I think it's more fun if like I can show you. And I have some ideas that I've just got to kind of find a location for and time, because you guys know I've been traveling a ton and I've got another trip coming up mid-April, couple trips in May, trip in June, then nothing for July and August, I hope, and then another trip in September. So keeps me from being able to do a lot of what I want to do. More information than you need, I am sure. But yes, check out the video. I've got the script right here and I just recorded it and I'm so excited about the one that's coming out next Wednesday. So let's do our first sprint. Let's do 15 minutes. And I just realized that I forgot my water. So I'm going to have to like take a second away from the camera and go get my water. So let's start that. I'll turn on some music. You guys write and I will be back in 15 minutes. we go. Quick 15 minutes there, guys. Hey, Cheryl, there you are. Nice to see you. Miss Blogger, I don't use any software. I just use Microsoft Word. I've never used like Scrivener or any of that because I'm just not that kind of writer. I do some handwriting when I'm stuck, but by and large, I use Microsoft Word. I had a year there where I had carpal tunnel really bad because I was working like 100 hours a week, getting my editing business off the ground and writing books, getting up at 4:30 in the morning to write books, and it was really tough. And I did use Dragon dictation software, but only for my nonfiction because I find that it doesn't work for fiction at all. I don't think that way. Like I don't write verbally, I write keyboard or hand. So people have different ways of writing. And I personally despise Google Docs because it doesn't play nice with Microsoft Word. And when my clients use Google Docs and I got to drop it back in, it's very frustrating to me. But everybody has a different thing that they love, and that's what makes the world go round and makes it really interesting. And I love that Google Docs and a lot of those are much more cross-platform. So like I have a client that uses Pages because she has a Mac. And so when she loads it in Google Docs and I put it in Word, I do have to reformat it, but we can all communicate with each other. So it works out good. Great job, Silver Ollie, on the 184 and 203 for you, Wendy. I am working again this week on a client chapter, not on my own book. Very big sad face. Because I have two clients whose books are finishing up this month, which means I need to get them done out the door and over to copy editing so that they can come out in June. So a lot of kind of last minute scrambling to finish up the rough drafts and stuff. And I have like three chapters left to write, 2.5, because I just wrote half. So it's getting there. What else was I going to tell you guys? I don't remember. I did tell you about the video and I did tell you about what's coming up next week. So I'm super excited about that. And let me know if you guys do have writing questions because you just drop them in there and I can answer them here live for you. Let's do another 15 minutes because it doesn't seem like anybody has any questions, which is totally cool. And we'll get some more writing done. So let's do, great job, Robert. I can't believe you write that much by hand. All right, 15 minutes and we'll be right back. Sometimes that time goes so fast, doesn't it, you guys? Oh, hey, H dude, so nice to see you. Okay, so let's answer some questions that came in while I was working on my client chapter, and hopefully, well, maybe 2 more weeks before I'll be working on my own book. I'm very sad about that. Anyways, can the catalyst be the meet cute if you're writing an insta love romance? If not, where should I put it? So my video next week, Miss Blogger will answer a lot of questions for you. The catalyst could be the meet cute, but it should not be make the character's goals to fall in love, because, and you guys will get a little preview here of the number one thing that people do wrong when they first start writing romances. And I did it too. I wrote 10 books in 8 years before I sold my first one. So I made this mistake a lot. The goal of any of the main characters in a romance should never, ever, ever be to fall in love. So you can have the meet cute, like in You've Got Mail, where Meg Ryan and Tom Hanks meet and start connecting over AOL Messenger. And we, as the viewer, know that they are going in opposite directions, and eventually they're going to find out who each other is. And then that's just going to destroy this love story that's happening on Instant Messenger. So absolutely, it can become the catalyst, but it doesn't have to, it should not make the characters want their only goal, make the character's only goal to be to fall in love. Does that make sense at the end of the day? Sorry if it doesn't. Okay, H dude, thank you. Nice to see you. And thanks for coming. Okay, stuck between a couple of chapters without a good transition. One action-filled chapter where my characters make a discovery while in peril, but make it out okay. And the next chapter's in a different location, the physical place the book needs to go for. Oops, I almost lost it there. The eventual ending, oops, you're not satisfied with the transition. Okay, so when you're having trouble with transitioning between scenes, you may be missing out on having a sequel. So the sequel is the emotional reaction. It is short. It is not 5 pages of characters going, oh crap, I can't believe that just happened, because nobody wants to read that, okay? So you want to have the scene, action happens, and this can either be put at the beginning of the next scene, the next chapter, depending on where you end your chapter, or at the end of the current chapter. So let me give you an example. If you have 2 characters and they're in an airplane and the airplane is going down, they don't have a whole lot of time to like think or react or anything. They're just their sequel of the scene of the plane like breaking and starting to go down is, oh crap, the plane's going down. What am I going to do? I'm going to have to figure out how to fly this plane. So that is your sequel. It's the reaction, the impact, and then the new decision that the character takes, which becomes their new action. So either at the end of the current first scene or at the beginning of the next scene, you need to have their, oh crap, that just happened. Now we need to do XYZ, so that you can have that transition, because you want to see the characters and everything interlock with the plans of the plot. So they've got to have some kind of thought that moves them to that next action, if that makes sense. And definitely you don't want to slow down your action with a lot of narrative or a lot of thinking or just a lot of talking that you don't necessarily mean. You can just do that in a paragraph or 2. Sequels to scenes should be very, very short to keep things moving, because otherwise the reader will just put the book down. Nice to see you, Heather. I'm so glad you are here. And Gail, I don't have that answer yet. I will, I have to look at my calendar. It's going to be another week or 2 for the mastermind groups. And Heather, you'll be, oh no, Cece, I think is the one writing romance. And Heather, I think you are too, and you're writing children's books. Sorry if I'm forgetting. It's been a very long week with a lot of meetings. Anyways, next week's video will be about writing a romance novel. I already said that. You guys, I'm telling you, I really am in the mood and needing to have a day off, and I'm working all weekend, so it's not going to be pretty. I'm glad I recorded my video earlier. And thanks, H Dude. I'm glad to help you with that. I don't have a video yet on scene and sequel, but I have a lot of videos on plotting, and so you definitely want to check those out. I have a whole masterclass on how to plot, and I do touch on it. I'm planning to do a scene and sequel video, but right now I kind of want to lay the groundwork with a bunch of videos about how to construct scenes and then start talking about sequels, because they really are just short, oh crap, we got to do this now kind of thing. All right, so we have 20 minutes left, and I still have a chapter I haven't finished for my client. I'm still going to get it done. So let's do another 15 minutes, and then we'll answer any questions, and then we'll call it a day at 5 today, a little early, because I do have the date with the husband. And I'm definitely in need of a margarita or something after today. So let me know if you guys have any questions. You can drop them in the chat while we're writing. And Robert, just 348 handwritten words. I'm always amazed. I say that every time, but I am, because my handwriting is so, like, these are my notes for my videos. I can barely read that, and it gets worse as I write more pages. So, but I'm still a handwriting person. I love handwriting things, even if I cannot read what the hell I wrote later. Like, I've got notes on a client. I don't even know if I can read what I wrote there. Anyways, and Heather, happy anniversary. That's awesome. We've only been married for like almost 2 years. It'll be 2 years in May. So we're still newlyweds, which I told somebody the other day that we eat lunch together every day because he works from home as well. And that other person just kind of rolled their eyes because he's been married for a long time and he has a couple little kids. And I was like, listen, we're still newlyweds. Give it a year. Maybe we won't want to eat together anymore. But anyways, let's do one more 15 minutes and we will go from there. Have some great writing, guys. Wow, I always think that goes so fast. Like I'm writing and writing, and it is only 15 minutes, but it just goes so fast. Just when I'm like, oh, I want to, work another paragraph or something like that. Um, and yes, CC, nice to see you. And yes, I love writing by hand. It really does help with my creativity. And I have a notepad by my bed. And so a lot of times, just before I fall asleep, I'm thinking about my book and I'll write notes there, and or sometimes I put them in my phone, but I don't think the same way when I type into my notepad. My husband, who's all digital because he works in IT, is just like, I don't understand why you don't use your phone for the grocery list and for this and that. And I just can't. I just can't. I think better by hand. And Miss Blogger, I did answer your question about the 2 character master plans on the channel because you originally asked me on the channel, and I did answer that. So it says in the master plans and also in the videos that I talk about with using the master plans that you need a master plan for each character because each character has their own goal, motivation, and conflict and internal goal, motivation, and conflict when the book starts. They don't have the same one, so you obviously need to know that about both of them because they're each going to have their own journey. So absolutely do one for each of the characters and any other main characters that you might want to put in the book. Like if you're doing a series, a connected series, and I would do this if I have a sister that's going to be the star of the next book, I'll do her master plan just so I know what I'm going to need to set up in the first book for the second one, if that makes sense. Yeah, Heather, I think better with my hand. I don't know. I'm telling you, it's been a very long week with a lot of meetings. And making a video on writing in both deep and dual point of view. I'll do videos on point of view as well. I'm trying really hard to make sure that when I do the videos, I am doing them in the way that I personally think is the most important way to learn how to write a book because it starts with structure, like building a house. You need to understand structure before you can do anything else. So a lot of what I'm doing is kind of on purpose so that I'm not introducing a bunch of concepts that you're dependent on the other concepts in order to get them, if that makes sense. Because if you don't have a plot, there's no point in talking about point of view because the plot is the thing that holds everything together. And the character is the thing that the reader connects with. So those are the most vital things. And I've done a lot on that. And now I'm going to do a little bit of specific scene stuff. And I will eventually get, yes, to point of view and a little bit more on dialogue. I've got a whole plan for dialogue and pacing and things like that. But the biggest concepts are really all about plot. And that honestly was what I struggled with a lot in the beginning. Like I took these classes on show not tell, I took these classes on point of view. I could do that, but I didn't understand internal plot. And that was what kept my books from selling for so long. That was what made me get rejected a lot. Like literally I have a pile this big of paper rejections because this was a million years ago. Um, and it was what I struggled the most with. So that's why I focus on that quite a bit because I think that it's a concept that I can explain it a dozen times and it's really hard to get at first. It's because it's so counterintuitive to what we're thinking we should write. Like we should write the car chases, we should write the child abduction, we should write the mystery. But the key to a book that readers remember and that readers love is the internal journey of the character. So that's why I'm very adamant about that. And Half a Mo said, do you think you need the structure fairly solid before you start? I think that's up to you. So I think I have it fairly solid before I start. And then I get to know the characters and I'm like, I don't think this works for them. So my method of writing is I'll write the first couple chapters maybe. I used to write 3, but now I write 1 or 2 chapters and then I figure out the master plans, the plot and the character, but I'm not married to the plot. A lot of times I've written a synopsis for my for the art department at the publishing house and I never look at it again because my method is to take the character and let the character cause their own problems, which is why that internal is so important. If you have a character who avoids confrontation, let's say, then they're not going to have those hard conversations and that's going to create issues in the plot. So maybe they don't confront their dad over blowing all the money on the house and now the house is being lost, and because they don't confront him, well, now they're living on the street, so they're causing their own problems. So I write very much from a character point of view because that's what I connect with in the book and that's what 90% of readers connect with in a book. So I really kind of leave the external structure is I wouldn't call it vague, but it's definitely a skeleton. And then I can fill it in and decide what it's really going to be as I get further into the book and really get to know these characters. Everybody has a slightly different method. Like some people really like to have that structure nailed down before they start. I like to be a little bit more loosey-goosey. Part of it, though, is I've written, I don't know, 100-something books. So I've done it a bunch of times. And so a lot of it happens in the back of my head. Um, but I do think that you need to sort of understand how all that works before you start writing so that you know that you've got to work that internal journey in and you've got to get this character to learn some lessons, confront their fears, and hopefully you've got a plot that makes them confront their fears the whole way through, because that's my favorite kind of plot. Make those characters do those things that nobody else likes to do. So if you haven't already seen it, do check out the, oops, this was the wrong thing. I was going to say, do check out the video from this week, which was all about writing great protagonists and antagonists, which is a perfect segue here for what we're doing here. And I'm going to put the link in there. And then you can always watch the replays of these. We'll be back next Friday. And next week is going to be a whole video about analyzing a scene and how to write a romance novel. So I'm very excited about that for you guys. So thank you all for joining me and have a great weekend. I will see you next week.